recognize knowledge of self-determination. I know I'm a little bit later than everybody else with my Dr. Umar, Roland Martin breakdown. And it's going to be real quick because most people have already done a breakdown of this. And most people that I've seen support Dr. Umar and pretty much believe what I'm about to say, that this was ambush journalism. Roland Martin set him up. However, this didn't go the way Roland Martin expected it because Dr. Umar is a standalone type of brother. He stands firm on his own 2 feet. You know what I'm saying? And he welcomes all challenges. And he's prepared. He's knowledgeable enough and intelligent enough and poised enough to defend himself and not get rattled. You understand? And get all shaky and all nervous. You know, you have to appreciate the poise and control that this brother has on a platform such as this, and being ambushed by 3 black people who should actually be supporting you. The things that they went off on Dr. Umar over were his views on interracial dating and white people getting together to systematically abolish white supremacy. Those are the main 2 things that I want to focus on because to me those were 2 of the most important things. But real quick, people still questioning Dr. Umar on his education. Seriously, if you're still asking him about his education at this point, you're a fucking idiot. I'm gonna just be honest with you. I've heard this brother more than 2 handfuls of times break down where he went to school with and which degrees he got from which schools, and then tell you the information you need. He gives you the names of the schools, so you can always call the schools themselves and contact the registrar to see if he actually attended those schools. You can do that yourself. So the fact that in 2017, Roland Martin is still asking that question, you look like a fucking fool, man. And anybody who's still asking those questions, you're an idiot. You're not even to be taken seriously at this point, because that means that you don't do research, basically, and you're jumping on the bandwagon of sensationalizing all this. But the 2 issues, the 2 main points that I wanted to focus on, the issue, the one topic of his views on interracial dating and the systematic oppression of black people. First and foremost, his opinions on interracial dating are his opinions. That has nothing to do with me whatsoever. His opinions on interracial dating are his opinions. You know, this brother believes strongly and holds firm to his opinions on interracial dating. And so what? What this brother said is a subjective thing. What he said was, if you are a black person who dates a white person, you will have a hard time getting my respect. That's all he said. He didn't say it was impossible. He didn't say that any other black person shouldn't respect you. He said you'll have a hard time getting my respect. And the 2 panelists, his brother here and his sister here, lost their shit. They lost their minds when he brought up that topic. Why are black people so willing to cape for white women, first and foremost, for white people, period, and also to protect and defend their right to date white people? Why are black people so willing to defend that? Why? Why do black people get up and at him about a black man talking about his opinions on black people dating white people? His opinions are his opinions. Whether I agree or disagree is completely irrelevant. It's inconsequential. It doesn't matter what I agree with or what I don't agree with. That's his opinion. You understand what I'm saying? What is this brother doing for black people? How is he trying to help black people? You understand what I'm saying? How many black people are trying to do what he's doing? There's some black people out there who are doing things like Dr. Umar. They may not be doing the exact same thing, but they are doing things like Dr. Umar. Tons of them. Why aren't we highlighting all the positivity that black people are doing and shedding more light on what they're doing? Like iBuyBlack.com and all that kind of stuff. Why aren't we highlighting the achievements of black people? We're only focusing on the fucked up stuff that we think they do. But for these 2 people to the far right here to actually get up and at them, or up and at him about his preferences on interracial dating, is completely ridiculous to me. And for the sister to actually say to him, he's too smart to think like that, she made herself look like a fucking fool by saying that. That's his opinion. It's a completely subjective opinion. He's too smart to have his own opinion on stuff. But my response to her is, you're too smart to be a coon. Or I would think that you're too smart to be a coon You're too smart to be defending white people. You're too smart to not know what systematic oppression is. You're too smart not to know that, because she didn't understand what systematic oppression was. She did not know what systematic, the abolition of systematic white supremacy was. She brought up one name, Tim Wise. Tim Wise is not white people. He's a white person. He is not the Caucasian, he is not the Caucasian race as a whole. He is not them as a whole. You understand what I'm saying? He is one person. He cannot do anything to systematically abolish white supremacy racism in this country. One white person speaking up does not do anything for the whole. Because as we can see from the country and how it's ran, the fact that there's still an 18-to-1 racial disparity, the fact that slavery wasn't abolished, it was just made illegal unless you commit a crime, the fact that white supremacists literally control and run the judicial system, the legal system, and the police departments, and law enforcement agencies in this country. White supremacy controls those organizations, controls them. So for her to make that statement, and for the brother here on the right with the pink tie to say that American government systematically came together to pass the Civil Rights Bill. But here's the thing. The Civil Rights Act, that's not permanent legislation. It gets voted on every so often. It gets voted on every so often, whether to maintain civil rights for people of color or to get rid of civil rights for people of color. You understand what I'm saying? That is not white. That is not a systematic elimination of white supremacy. That is them keeping our asses on a short leash. That's exactly what that is. And his brother was actually arguing with Dr. Umar, called him a liar for stating such facts. That no white person, white people as a whole have not done anything collectively to get rid of systematic white supremacy racism. His brother actually argued with him against that and called him a liar. And Dr. Umar's response was to call him a coon, which I believe was appropriate in the situation. Roland Martin, now, and you can always tell the character of a man when he wants to reprimand you, but instead of looking you in your eyes, man to man, and saying what he needs to say to you, this fat-faced fucker looked down at his desk and said, "I'm not going to have any racial epithets on my show." That right there, to me as a man, that is a huge thing. Other men who look down at you when you're talking to them, who cannot look you eye to eye when passing you or conversating with you, he's not a real fucking man, in my opinion. There's something lacking in that man. There's something lacking in that person, in that man. You so strong on your stance, you can't look this brother in his eye and tell him what you don't want him to say on your show. That's just that's some weak shit to me. That's some pussy shit to me, in my opinion. But anyway, now I think Dr. Umar Johnson represented himself well. I believe that he stood his ground and made it a point to be firm in his convictions. He did not allow himself to be derailed by these two black people here. Now the brother here in the middle, he was the more sensible out of the whole panel. I'm sorry, the whole panel that was assembled to try and ambush Dr. Johnson. He was the most sensible and logical person there. So much respect to that brother. You know, him and Dr. Umar Johnson actually had a pretty calm and logic-based dialogue, which is how I wish the whole panel would have went. But Roland Martin did not assemble, and he did not have his white liberal backing help him. Yo, he supports the Democratic Party. White liberals finance and fund Roland Martin. You honestly believe that white liberals didn't have a hand in handpicking these three Negroes to ambush Dr. Umar Johnson? Of fucking course they did. Of course they did. Of course they did. Now I'm not gonna make this video up for so long. I just wanted to highlight those things and what I think about how Dr. Umar Johnson handled himself. You know, he handled himself well. Those two issues were the major issues for me. His stance on interracial dating and his stance on systematic white supremacy racism, and how white people are not fighting to get rid of systematic white supremacist racism. Think about it. White supremacist hate groups have grown exponentially and continue to grow ever since Obama became president, and even after his presidency. White supremacist groups have grown exponentially. White supremacy, the acting out of white supremacy, racism against black people has elevated, has escalated. It has. Now, if you take offense to this as a white person, then that's your problem. But white people have not done anything to systematically get rid of white supremacy. They have done nothing systematically to get rid of white supremacy. Nothing at all. Nothing. They've done nothing. The Civil Rights Act is voted on every so often. That is not permanent legislation. That is not something that we can say, okay, this is law, bam, and that is what it is. They've done nothing. They've done nothing to get rid of the fucking racial disparity in the judicial system, in the legal system. It went from 100 to 1 to 18 to 1. But the point is that the racial disparity still exists. They didn't even cover that on here, but that's neither here nor there. But this brother here believes that white people have fought to systematically get rid of white supremacy, while there's still an actual legal precedence for racial disparity. White people have done everything they could, according to this brother and his sister, to systematically get rid of white supremacy. While the 13th Amendment only says slavery is illegal unless you commit a crime. So slavery isn't illegal. Slavery still exists in this country. You just can't be forced into slavery. You have to commit a crime first. And most black people are arrested in this country for fucking nothing. For nothing. Not even committing a crime. But just because they want to detain you. They force you into slavery. Just because they want to detain you. Just because. You understand what I'm saying? How many times have you ever been arrested or sent to central booking or police station without any charges and released the next day? Or had to stay there over the weekend and released on Monday on your own recon with no charges pressed against you? You understand? That's them forcing you into slavery, even for a fucking day. They force you into fucking slavery. Because they have the power to do so. Because white supremacy is in control of the legal system. White supremacy controls the law enforcement agencies in this country. Without a fucking doubt. Without a doubt. White supremacy is at the forefront of the law enforcement agencies in this country. The legal system, the judicial system. All branches of government. Period. So, I don't understand where black people like these two individuals come from with their trying to champion white liberal causes. Anyway, Dr. Umar Johnson, in my opinion, held a good account of himself. He made his stance on interracial dating is his stance. He says that you'll have a hard time getting my respect. That's a subjective view. That's his opinion. Who cares? What is he doing for black people? What is he doing to help black people? From my standpoint, he's trying to do a lot. He's trying to open up a school. And I support his efforts on that. What are these individuals doing to help black people? They're not, because they're defending white people. They're defending white supremacy. They're defending it. They're fighting for it. They're getting up in atoms when this brother talks about his opinions on interracial dating. Why are they so upset about that? Why are they so upset about that? What difference does it make to you what his views are on interracial dating? What difference does it make to you? You don't have to believe what he believes about that. And that's just it. That's just it. But they didn't really have any other talking points or any points to actually try to discredit anything that he says that he does. So they had to focus on one, the least important thing, which is his views on racial dating, or interracial dating, and the only thing that they could have, which actually goes to prove Dr. Umar's point, is the Civil Rights Act. But they didn't even put that shit into full context. They didn't even put it in the context. Again, the Civil Rights Act gets voted on every so often. Basically, white people get together and vote on whether black people should be allowed to have civil rights or not. Continue to have civil rights or not. Basically, in short, paraphrase, that's what that is. That's what they do. The Civil Rights Act is not some long-standing thing that is legal in this country. is not a part of the Constitution. It is not an amendment in the Constitution. You understand what I'm saying? It's not law. It's something that gets voted on. It's an act. It's a bill. It gets voted on. So white supremacy still exists. People like Dr. Umar Johnson are combating white supremacy. I don't see anything wrong with that. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Fighting white supremacy. And if you're not fighting against white supremacy, then you are a white supremacist yourself. But I say, check out, if you guys haven't seen it by now, check it out. Check out this ambush style journalism and make up your own minds. Make up your own minds. I agree with the majority of what Dr. Umar said. Now, on opinion-based things like the interracial dating thing, I have no opinion either one way or another about that, because that's that man's personal choice. That's his personal opinion. You know what I'm saying? That's his personal opinion. Why would you get upset about his stance on interracial dating? Why? Why would you get upset about that? The same way I wouldn't get upset with you about the type of beer you choose to drink. The fuck do I care? That's a personal choice. I care less. I don't even drink beer. But why would I care if you chose to drink Beck's versus Corona? The hell? Why would I care about that? Just like I don't care whether you choose. I don't care. That's his personal choice. His personal opinion. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to highlight that and give my my 2 cents on this whole situation, because I believe, like most people believe, that this was ambush journalism. Roland Martin should be fucking ashamed of himself. And again, he just goes to prove that he is a coon who is a sucker for the Democratic Party, for white Democratic liberals. He is a sucker for the white Democratic Liberal Party. He's a sucker for them. This dude is a sucker for the Republican Party. But the funny thing is, he sounds like a white Republican. Or, I'm sorry, a white liberal Democrat. And I've said for years that the Democrats and the Republicans, they say the same shit. It's only maybe 2 or 3 issues that they may differ on. But for the most part, they say the same shit. And people are clamoring over the Democrat and Republican Party. But what has either party ever done for black people? And when have white people ever come together to systematically rid this country and this world of white supremacy? They're not going to, because 99.5% of them love the benefits that they get from white supremacy. They're not going to get rid of it. That's why it has not even been chipped away at. You understand? She brought up Tim Wise. Tim Wise is one white person. He is not the whole of the white race. He's one white person. He cannot do anything systematically to change the system of white supremacy. No individual white person can. No individual white person can. They can't. And until white people as a group, as a whole, come together to rid this country and the world of systematic white supremacy, then you got to look at them all with the side eye. I don't think they're all bad, but I can't trust you until I know that. And that's all I'm saying. And that's all Dr. Umar was saying for the most part. White people have not done anything to get rid of systematic white supremacy. They've done nothing to do that, to change that. They've done nothing to do that. And that's all he was pretty much saying as it goes to that. That's it. To argue against that makes you look bad, because black people see what's happening in this country. We see it. We see the Philando Castillo murderer getting off. You understand what I'm saying? We see black cops in accidental shootings getting 40 years, but white cops don't get convicted for killing black people. We see this shit. We see it every day. We see it. It's in the laws. We see it. It's in the Constitution. We see it. You cannot hide what is obvious. It doesn't take a whole day to recognize sunshine. To quote the dude Common. It doesn't take a whole day to recognize sunshine, man. But that's all I got to say about this. I support Dr. Umar Johnson. I support anybody who's trying to combat white supremacy racism. Anybody that's trying to support that, combat that, and supporting black people uniting. I support all of that. anybody who is opposed to black people uniting, and anybody who is opposed to the eradication of white supremacy, who will defend white supremacy racism, or speak out against black people who talk about white supremacy racism, you are my enemy. You are an enemy to all black people. You are an enemy. And that's my stance on that. You are my enemy. But like I said, this is ambush journalism. Dr. Umar Johnson represented himself well, and I hope he continues to get put on these platforms like this so more people can hear what he has to say. He makes his videos, they get posted on Facebook and YouTube. Check him out, because all the brother's doing is trying to help uplift black people, and that's it. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're so blind as to believe that Tim Wise, an individual white person, speaks for all white people, and this person is alone can systematically end white supremacy racism, you're a fucking fool. If you are a black person who believes that the Civil Rights Act, which has to be voted on, which is not any permanent legislation in this country, it has not been made a part of the Constitution, it has to get voted on every few years or so, 10, 15, 20 years or so, I don't remember the exact number. You think that is white people's way of fighting against white supremacy, racism, you are a fucking fool and you are a coon. If you believe that an obvious racial disparity, an 18-to-1 racial disparity in the judicial system against black people is white people fighting against white supremacy, you are a fucking fool. You are a coon. Plain and simple. But that's all I got for now, guys.